I don't have I don't have anything that could cause it. I have nothing no blood pressure, no high diabetes.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. It makes me mad, really mad, really, really mad that I have the stroke. And like everyone that has it or everybody doesn't, I'm like, why me? Why did I have to have it? It's frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Mad at who?
I don't know. I'm just mad. Like, I don't know who I'm mad at.
Before we get into Trisha's story, and this is a raw, honest, and really important one, I want to share a tool I've been using that I think can genuinely help stroke survivors get better answers faster. It's called Turn2.ai. It's an AI health sidekick that helps you deep dive into any burning question you have about your recovery. It searches across over 500,000 sources related to stroke, new research, expert discussions, patient stories, and resources, and then keeps you updated on what matters each week. I use it myself, and it's my favorite tool of 2026 for staying current with what's happening in stroke recovery. It's low cost and completely patient first. Try it free, and when you're ready to subscribe, use my code BILL10 at turn2.ai/sidekick/stroke to get a discount. I earn a small commission if you use that link at no extra cost to you, and that helps keep this podcast going. Also, my book, The Unexpected Way That a Stroke Became the Best Thing That Happened, is available at recoveryafterstroke.com/book. And if you'd like to support the show on Patreon and my goal of reaching 1,000 episodes, you can do that by going to patreon.com/recoveryafterstroke. Links are in the show notes. Right. Trisha Winski was 46 years old, healthy, had no risk factors, and then a carotid web she never knew she had changed everything. Let's get into it. Trisha Winski, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Also, thank you for joining me so late. I really appreciate people hanging around till the late hours of the evening to join me on the podcast. I know it's difficult for us to make the hours that suit us both. I'm in the daytime here in Australia, and you're in the nighttime there.
Yeah. It's okay. I can come to you late, but yeah, it's late.
As a stroke survivor, is it too late?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool. Tell me a little bit about what you used to get up to. What was life like before the stroke?
I used to get up and go to work, deal with it all day, come home. I'd go to the restaurant, the bars, my friends, and then I had a stroke and everything changed. Everything changed in an instant.
How old were you when you had the stroke?
I was 46.
And before that, were you in a family, married? Do you have kids? Any of that stuff?
I have a kid. Now he's 28. He was 25 when I had it. I was married before, but a long time ago. Actually, my ex found me when I had a stroke, so he's the one who found me. So yeah, that's all I have here. My mom passed away in November, so it's been challenging.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
Dramatic. Sorry to hear that. How many years ago was a stroke?
It's 3 years and 3 months.
Yeah. What were you focused on back then? What were the main goals in your life? Was it just working hard? Was it getting to a certain time in your career? What was the main goal?
I think I was working hard, but I just wanted to get to a good place in my career, and I think I was in a good place. Now I second guess it all the time because I've had strokes now. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm always second guessing it, but I was in a good place. I just felt like I needed to make them better. The stroke happened, and I so didn't.
What kind of work did you do?
I was the corporate finance director for an auto group.
A lot of hours? Was it like crazy hours, or was it just regular hours?
No, I worked a lot of hours, but in the end, he wanted to work 40 to 50 hours a week. I couldn't do that. 50 hours a week was killing me, but 40 was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you consider yourself healthy? Was there any signs that you were unwell, that there was a stroke kind of on the horizon?
No, nothing. Day before this, I had my eye was I want to say it's twitching, but it wasn't twitching. It was doing something odd. And I didn't realize that until I had the TIA recently. But I realized it then how can I explain it? It's like a clear oblong shape in my eye. When I move, it goes with me. And I try to see around it, I can't see around it. And I said to Gary, I work with him, I was like, God, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. This continues, I can't see. And then it went away. And that's the only symptom I had. Only symptom. And he said, no, I should have told you that you might be having a stroke. I'm like, even if you told me that, I never believed him. Never.
Yeah. When and it went away and you didn't have a chance to go see anyone about it?
It went away in honestly, 5 minutes. So I didn't see anybody, but I thought it was okay. But I mean, I guess now that I'm looking back at it, it's kind of odd. It's one eye, but I felt like it was going, I don't know. But
yeah.
Yeah.
How could you know? I mean, no one knows these things.
You don't.
And then on the day of the stroke, what happened? Was there any kind of lead up? Did you notice not feeling well during that day? And then the stroke happened. What was it like?
No. So I got up like every other day to go to work. I went in the bathroom, and the night before that, Zach's dad, he stayed at my house because he needed a place to stay because he couldn't go out with Zach again. I was like, okay, we'll sleep on my couch. I'm going to go to work tomorrow, but you can sleep here. So he was there, and I think if he wasn't there, I would have died. Makes me sad. Anyway, so when I woke up, I went to the bathroom, and I stood up from the toilet, and I fell over, and I didn't even realize it. So I fractured my face in like 5 places when I fell, and I didn't even know it. My whole side was numb, so I didn't feel it. And Jason, helped me to bed. I thought he helped me to bed. He didn't. He drugged me to bed. And he got me to bed, and then he came back in like 5 minutes later. Are you okay? Like, he knew something was wrong, and I couldn't articulate it to him. So I said, I'm fine. I'm gonna go to work. So he put the phone in my hand to call my boss, and he came back in like 5 minutes later, and he put my right hand, so I didn't call anybody. And he said, "Oh my God, I'll never forget this." He said, "Oh my God, you're having a stroke." And at that point, I couldn't talk.
But you could hear him say that.
Yeah, I could hear him say that, but I couldn't talk to him.
This is really raw for you, isn't it?
Yes, it's really scary. Like, even talking right now, it upsets me.
Yeah. I understand. I went through very similar things, like trying to speak about it and getting it out of my self and trying to, bring it into the world and get it off my shoulders, often brought me to tears and made it really difficult for me to have a meaningful conversation with anyone about it.
It does.
There's small blessings there with you. Okay. All happened when, for whatever reason, your ex was in the house
I know.
and was able to attend to you. It's an amazing thing that is even possible, considering how some breakups go and
I know.
how
We're
and how
good
possible.
friends, but it was a challenge.
Yeah. And so he called 911 and got you to hospital. Is that
Yes.
how you ended up in hospital?
And so they ended up taking me to MGH. It's a hospital right down the street from me. But he's not from here. He's from Pennsylvania. So he didn't know where to send me. He's like, she just has to go to the hospital. So they knew when they came up. So MGH is known for their strokes. They're really good at strokes. And so that's where they plan on taking me.
Yeah. And do you get a sense of what happened when you were in the hospital? Do you have any kind of recollection of what was going on?
I mean, honestly, in the first week, no. I remember seeing, in the first day, I saw Zach, my son. Zach, his brother Connor was in there too, and Jason. They all were there with me when I woke up. But I saw them, and I saw my friend Matt, and then that's all I remember seeing. I remember seeing my mom on the third day, and Jill on this third day, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then did you have deficits? You couldn't feel one of your sides? Did that come back, that whole problem, that whole challenge?
So the right side, it came back, but it came back sporadically. So it depended when it came back. My So the first day I saw Matt, and I put up my arm to talk to him, and I couldn't like put my arm out, so I just like tap my arm. Um, Now I can move my arm fully, but I can't. I don't have the dexterity in my arm. I have so I can't flip an egg with this hand. So it's like this, and then this is like that. I can't do this. And my right foot has spasticity in it, and the and then the three toes on the side. I curl them up all the time.
Uh-huh.
And I
Okay.
did Botox for it. Nothing helps.
Okay. Have you heard of cryoneurolysis?
Yeah. I got that back.
You got cryoneurolysis?
No, what are you saying?
That's spasticity treatment.
Oh no.
Cryoneurolysis. It's a real weird long word. There's a dude in Canada
Okay.
that started a procedure to help freeze a nerve, and it expands um, the the tendons or something around that, and it decreases spasticity, and it lasts longer than Botox.
Yeah, you need to give me his name when we're done talking. That's I went twice to have it done. It didn't help at all. And
Okay.
I met the guy, the podiatrist,
Yeah.
at the hospital, and he said I didn't think it was going to work. I'm like, it's the first time I saw you, and he was like, oh, I saw you when you had the stroke. I'm like, okay. I saw a million people that weekend. I don't remember who they were.
All right. So I'm going to put a link to the details for cryoneurolysis in the show notes. You and I will communicate after the podcast episode's done, and I'll send you the details, because there's this amazing new procedure that people are raving about that seems to provide more relief than Botox in a lot of cases, and it lasts longer. And it's basically done by freezing the nerve or doing something like that to the nerve in an injection kind of format, and then it releases the spasticity, makes it improve. So well worth you looking into it, especially if you're in the United States and it's in Canada. I know that doctor is training people in the United States and around the world, so there might be some people closer to you than Canada
Yeah.
that you can go and
Yeah.
chat about.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah. And how long did you spend in hospital in the end?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah. So the first week I was at MGH, they kept me for longer in the ICU because I had hemorrhagic conversion, transformation, whatever it's called. But do you know what that is? Blood that went from the I can't think of what I'm trying to say. It went from the aneurysm to not the aneurysm,
The
oh
carotid artery? The
yes,
clot? Or
yeah, carotid artery, and went to my brain. So it made my brain bleed for a couple of days, but not like bleed, but it showed blood, so they kept me in it for longer.
okay. And then did you go straight home? Did you go to rehab? What was that like?
I went to rehab for 3 weeks, 3 weeks, and I
3
sobbed.
weeks.
I sobbed my eyes out. So at that point, I was like, I was good, but I wasn't at all good. But I thought I was good. I said, I want to go. I want to go home. I want to go home. My son can teach me do all this stuff. I got to go home. Now that I'm past it, there's no way he could tell me. No way. I couldn't tie my shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So
And when you came home, were people living with you?
no, nobody was living with me, but he had to come move in with me for 3 months.
Yeah, your son, yeah.
He was my
What
proxy.
was that like?
I mean, honestly, at the time it was fine because I slept all the time. Well, I slept like, God, I would go to bed like 7:30 at night, and I would sleep until like at least 7:30 the next day. I get up for a few hours, do what I had to do, and then fall back asleep. But I slept for a lot, so it was okay then. But come to the end of it, I'm like, okay, it's time for you to go back to your place. I need my
Yeah.
space again. But yeah, I need to have my own space. But at the time, I didn't know. I just needed to rest.
And you need somebody around anyway.
Yeah, I
It's
do.
important to
Yeah.
have somebody near you if you're unwell. Do they know what caused the stroke?
So I had a carotid web. It means that it's really rare. Only like 1.2% of the whole population has it, and I had it. It's congenital. Cohen. It's so I got it when I was born.
Yep. Congenital.
Congenital, but they don't know. I said that would make it so much sense if they did a scan of your whole body at some point. I would have known that I had that years ago, but I didn't know it.
They don't know what to look like, what to look for.
I
The
know.
thing about scans of the whole body, a good friend of mine, the guy who helped me out when I was in hospital, he's a radiographer and he does MRIs and all that kind of stuff. And he used to do my MRIs, happened to be my friend, happened to be working at the hospital that I was at. And he used to come and see me all the time. And I said to him, can we do a scan, a preventative scan and check out,
Yeah.
my whole body? And he said, well, we can, but what are we looking for? I said, I don't know anything. He said, well, we could find a heap of things or we could find nothing. And if we don't know what we're looking for, we can't set our scanners to the particular settings to find the thing that
Yeah.
you're looking for, because one scanner looks for hundreds of different things and the settings to look for that thing has to be set into the scanner. And it's only when people have a suspicion that you might have X thing, then they set the scanner to find X thing and then they'll look for it and then they find it. He said, well, if we go in and do whole body scan, like we don't even know what resolution to set it, how long to do the scan for. We don't know what we're looking for, so we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to guide me and say, I want you to look for, in my case, a congenital arteriovenous malformation, in your case, a carotid web, and in anyone else's case, is an aneurysm or whatever. But a general scan, like it's such a hard thing to do for people.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he said you find things that people do have unexpectedly because they go in for a different scan and then you discover something else. But now they've got more information about something that's quote unquote wrong with them. And it's like, what do you do with that information? Do I do a procedure to get rid of it? Do I leave it there? Do I monitor it? Like, do I worry about it? Do I not worry about it? He said it throws a big kind of curveball out there, and then no one knows how to react to it, how to respond. So it's a big deal for somebody to say, can we have a whole body scan so we can work out
I mean,
what are all the things wrong with me?
it's true, but I think that for me and most people have a carotid web. It's obvious. You know how old you are, it's obvious. So then, in that regard, like a carotid web is it looks a little indention in the bloodstream. It looks a little indention in your artery. So I think that they would have seen it, but then again, I don't know. Like the hospital I went to, he said, "You're lucky you came here because most hospitals would have missed us." And I'm like,
they probably didn't have the technology to find it.
I don't know. Yeah, because when I came to, it wasn't for months later, but I saw it on the scan. I'm like, oh, it's right there. He said, yeah, but I thought it would be obvious, but it's not so obvious.
I just did a Google search for it, and it says a carotid web is a rare shelf-like membrane type narrowing in the internal carotid artery, specifically arising from the posterior wall of the carotid bulb. It is a form of intimal fibromuscular dysplasia that causes blood to stagnate, forming clots that can lead to recurrent, often severe ischemic strokes. Okay, so it causes blood to stay stagnant in that particular location, causing clots. Okay, and you, in the time we've been communicating, which is only in the last 3 or 4 weeks, you even sent me a message saying you just had a TIA.
Yeah.
How come you're still having clots? Are they not treating you, or?
No, I think they gave me a stent in my artery to counteract that. I don't know why I had it because but my eye was like acting crazy again, just with one eye, and I didn't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to go to the hospital at all for anything. If I don't have to go, I'm not going to the hospital. I text Jason and Zach, and they're like, no, you have to go. I'm like, I'll wait a little while. So meanwhile, I was waiting a little while because I didn't want to go. And then I listened to, I read chat GPT. He said, no, you have to go right now. Here's why. I'm like, oh. And that was like 5 hours later. I'm like, fuck, sorry. So I went, but, and they said that I have, it's likely I had a clot. They don't know where it came from though. So that's the thing is, it's confusing. And by the way, I think there's something to be said about, I think if you have a stroke, you can have one again easier than somebody who didn't. And I didn't know that, but I learned it quickly. So they said I had it maybe went up in my eye, but it broke apart before it became an actual stroke. But I don't know.
I love that you didn't want to go and you ignored the
I didn't.
male influences in your life, but you listened to ChatGPT.
I did. They're so smart. Everything they say, I find on Google anyway. So but I listen to Chat GPT. It's like, I don't know, and I know that
You
like
know that's kind of mental.
it is actually, but I know that like my son is actually really smart, and I think that but I didn't listen to him. I just listened to Chat GPT.
Yeah. Anyhow, I love that you went in the end because, and why don't you want to go? Like, do you just hate doctors and hospitals and that kind of thing? They saved you, didn't they?
The what?
Didn't they save you? Didn't
Yeah,
they help you?
but I don't know. I just don't. I think I spent so much time in there. Um, I don't know. It's in my head. I don't like to sit in hospitals because of that. So after I had my the stroke, I stayed in the hospital for a month. I got out. I went back in like 2 weeks. I fell over twice, and they thought it was that's why. So I went back to the hospital. Something like Vegas, something is pretty common. And I was like, okay, I didn't want to go then. I did want to go, and then Zach made me. And then 2 months later, I went in to get the stint. At that time, I got my period, so it's a long story. But I said to the doctor, I'm like, "Will I be okay? Did I do anything else because of this?" He's like, "No, you should be fine. But if it gets bad, you have to go to the hospital." Holy cow, bad! I almost died from that, and that made me traumatized because I was awake and alive for all of it. I saw it all and passed out like 6 times in like three, I don't know how many days, like 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
The challenge with something going wrong in hospital is that it's less likely to be as dramatic as something going wrong at home. And that's the thing, right? Like if you haven't got help, then the chances that your stroke could cause you way more deficits, that's like so much worse. The
yeah,
best place for you to be is somewhere other than at home because you don't want to risk being at home alone when something goes wrong and then you're home alone when the blood flow has stopped to your head for a lot of hours. Like it could kill you. It could,
yeah,
um, make you more disabled, and it could do all sorts of things. So it's like, but I get the whole. What is it like? It's kind of like an anxiety about
yeah.
medical people and hospitals and stuff like
But
that.
I think that it's mostly like I don't like to stay there. I got a weird thing about this. I don't like to stay there. Mind you, I can stay anywhere I go, but I don't. The hospital like really bothered me, and I think that they were actually pretty good to me. So I'm not like mad at them for that. But I don't want to see them now if I can possibly help it.
Yeah, you're done with them.
I'm totally done.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I got to that stage. My dramas were like 3 or 4 years worth of medical appointments, scans,
Oh my god,
surgery,
medical
rehab.
appointments, medical appointments, forget it.
Yeah,
They're like, oh my god, I have so many of them. I can't even stand it.
I hear you. I hear you. I went through the same thing, and then I got over it. And now, lately, I've been going back to the hospital and seeing medical doctors for not. I haven't got heart issues. I've got high blood pressure, and they don't know what's causing it. And I've had my heart checked. I've had my arteries checked. I've had all these tests, blood tests, MRIs, the whole lot, and it's getting a little bit old. Like I'm over it. But the truth is, without them, I don't. I don't have a hope. Like if my blood pressure goes through the roof, which it had been sitting at 170 over 120, 130,
Yeah,
and I have a brain hemorrhage because of a high blood pressure. I know what a brain hemorrhage is like. I don't want to have another one.
I know.
So I'm like, I'm going to shut up, go through it, and be grateful that I have medical support,
Yeah.
which a lot of people don't get to have. And it's
Yeah.
like, whatever, I'll cop it, I'll go, and hopefully they can get ahead of it. So now they're just changing my medication. I want to get to the bottom of it. Why have I got high blood pressure? The challenge with the medical system that I have is they just tell you have it, and here's something to stop it from being high. But they never say to you, we're going to investigate why. Like, we're going
Yeah.
to try to get to the bottom of it. And I've been pushing them to investigate, why do I have high blood pressure?
I'm sure. So
And
I never had high blood pressure.
yeah,
But speaking of, I don't have a problem with my heart, but so that when I had the stroke the first time, they made me get out and have to, I had to wear a heart monitor for a month. And I said, like, why am I wearing a heart monitor? There was something I don't know, it's AFib or something like that, in there. And this time was the same thing. I had a heart monitor over there right now. I had to send it back, and they're going to send me a new one. But every time I've taken my heart test, and by the way, I went for EKG just the other day. It was fine, but they found like something near my heart, but it's not like I need to be concerned about. It's nothing I need to be concerned about. So I was like, okay, but they're making you wear that for a month anyway.
yeah,
Yeah,
just to go through things, just to check things, just to work some stuff out.
yeah, yeah. This month I have a ton. I have like 7 appointments.
Yeah, I used to forget my appointments all the time, even
Oh,
though I had them in my calendar,
me too.
even though I had reminders. Even though I got reminded on the day, an hour before, 2 hours before, it meant nothing to me. I would
Me
just
too.
completely forget about them.
Same thing. I forgot
Yeah,
all of it, and I had to share it with Zach, and he could tell me you have an appointment. I'm like, okay, I forgot. He's like, you have an appointment. I'm like, fuck, I have to go.
how long did it take you to get back to work?
I mean, at least I went back to work. I went back to work before I was told I could go back to work, and I wrote them an email like, listen, I can't sit at home anymore. I'm going fucking crazy. I need to do something. So I went back to work. And at first, I went back to work at part time. And honestly, like, I cried. I left there crying every day, and not because I think that not because of people. I don't think that it was the people. I couldn't like understand. My head was like I couldn't focus and put all that work into I couldn't put it into me, so I couldn't understand what I was doing. And I didn't give him a moment. Eventually, I got it, but it was a struggle. I should have waited till October. And they said I could go back in October. Maybe I could go back in October. I should have waited then.
Yeah. Are you kind of like a nervous energy type of person? Do you can't sit still, or is it like you can't spend a lot of time on your own with yourself? Like, what is it?
I can spend a lot of time by myself. I don't like to sit here by myself. I can be by myself. I don't like to be. I can't think of what'd you say
Is it
before?
just downtime? Is it the downtime? Is it too much? Did you have too much downtime?
Yes, definitely. Too much downtime, but I couldn't stand. I was sitting at home, and Zach was there, whatever he was doing. I was like, I can't. I need to do something. So I
Yeah.
went back to work, and in all reality, I should have walked around. I should have, but I didn't do that.
Yeah. How did your colleagues find you when you went back? Did they kind of appreciate what you had been through? Was it easy to have those conversations? What was it like?
Yeah, so I oversaw all the finance department. They were actually like honestly like rock stars. They were like really really good to me. That was helpful, and that because I love them anyway. So it made me feel good to say that's what I'm doing. But I still left there and cried. Not because like I think that I just couldn't understand it, and they were good to me. Everybody was good to me in theory, but I couldn't understand.
You had trouble with the work, with doing your job
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
your cognitive function.
Yeah. There's a couple other little things with that, but it's more or less the cognitive function is a problem to do the work.
Yeah, tiring. Like I imagine it's really mentally draining and tiring. I remember sitting in front of a computer trying to work out what was going on the screen and it being completely just blank.
And so that's actually what probably got me the most. It was that what you're saying. I'd be sitting there looking at my screen. I couldn't remember what I was doing, but I remember
Yeah.
like weird things. I remembered how to do like Excel. I don't know how I remembered Excel, but I did. I was really good with numbers, and they said that I was going to have a problem with numbers and everything. So I have aphasia too. I don't have a choice of that, but that's why I talk so weird.
Okay. I didn't notice.
Oh, that makes me feel good. But yeah, I have aphasia, but I can do certain things. The numbers was going to be. They said it was going to. I couldn't. I was. That was going to be a problem. And the numbers I can do all day, but I can't do other little things.
I hear you. I understand. So you went back to work. It was kind of helpful, probably too early to go back, but good
Yeah.
to be out of the house, good to be connecting with people again.
Yeah.
And has that improved? Did you find that you've been able to kind of get better in front of a screen, better with the things that you struggled with, or is it still a bit of a challenge?
So two things. I got fired eventually, and that's another whole issue. Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah. We'll talk about that another time.
Another time.
But so but now that I'm here, I could look at my computer and it's fine. I can do it all day. But I really it's a long story. I think that Warren, my boss, um, Deb, but they definitely like hinder me.
Yeah. Okay. Understand. Well, maybe we won't talk about it, like
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
complications with that. But that's all good. I understand.
Yeah.
So, do you know a lot of the times you hear about acceptance and you hear about uh, like when someone goes through something serious, something difficult, there has to be kind of this acceptance of where they're at, and that's kind of the first stage of healing, recovery, overcoming. Where are you with all of this? Have you, like, I totally get that at 46, it's a shock to have a stroke. You look perfectly fine, perfectly healthy. This thing that you didn't know about that you've had for 46 years suddenly causes an issue. How do you deal with your mortality and knowing that things can go wrong, even though you're not aware of, you're not doing anything to really make your situation worse? You look fit and healthy. Were you drinking, smoking, doing any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, I drank occasionally, but not like not. I wasn't a drunk, so
Yeah.
I don't smoke.
Social drinker, but not a smoker.
Yeah, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
I don't have anything that could cause it. I have nothing no blood pressure, no high diabetes.
Yeah.
It's hard. Jason talks about it all the time. It's hard. It makes me mad, really mad, really, really mad that I have the stroke. And like everybody that has it or everybody doesn't, I'm like, why me? Why did I have to have it? It's frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Mad at who?
I don't know. I'm just mad. Like I don't know who I'm mad at.
Yeah. The thing about the why me question, it's a fair question. I asked it too. I even ask it now sometimes, especially when I've got to go back for more tests, more. Now I've got high blood pressure. Like I needed another thing to have, and it's like the only thing that I come back with after why me is why not me? Like, who are you to go through life completely unscathed and get to 99 and then die from natural causes? I wanted to stop there for a second because that question, why me, is something I wrote about in my book. It's one of the most common and most painful places stroke survivors get stuck. If you want to read about it and how I worked through it and what I found on the other side, the book is called The Unexpected Way That a Stroke Became the Best Thing That Happened, and it's available at recoveryafterstroke.com/book. You'll find the link in the show notes. And now let's get back to Trisha. Like,
Yeah.
you're normal. So being normal, normal things happen to people. Some of those things that are shit are strokes and heart attacks and stuff that you didn't know that you were born with. Um, what's really interesting, though, is to live the life after stroke and to kind of wrap my head around what that looks like. My left side feels numb all the time, tighter. It has spasticity, but nothing is curled. Like my fingers or my toes are not curled, but it's tighter. It hurts. It's colder. It's um, sensitive.
Yeah.
And I've got and I always have a comparison of the quote unquote normal side, the other
Or
side.
yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
always, and the comparison I think is worse because it makes me notice my affected side, and that noticing it makes the reality happen again every day. Like it's a new, I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed, my left side's still sleepy. I have to be careful. If I'm not careful, I'll lose my balance. I don't want to fall over. And it's like, I get to experience a different version of myself. And sometimes I want to be grateful for that. I want to say, wow, what a cool, different thing to experience in a body. But then I'm trying to work out like, what's the benefit of it? I don't, I don't know if there's a benefit
I don't know either.
to me,
I don't.
but here I am talking to you and 390 people before you about stroke all over the world, and we're putting something out and it's making a difference. And maybe that's the benefit. I don't know, but do you know what I mean? Like, why not us?
I don't.
I
So
hate asking that question too.
you had the podcast on YouTube, and I stumbled upon it on, I don't know why. I was watching YouTube because I watch YouTube, and then you came out there. I'm like, so before that, I was looking at different. I watch every video on strokes, every video I could possibly tell you about. I watched. I did, and then I stumbled upon your stuff, and I watched that stuff too. And that's why I wouldn't have thought to call you or reach out to you.
Yeah, to reach out. Is it helpful? Was it helpful?
Yeah, it is helpful, but it doesn't change the fact that I had a stroke.
Yeah.
All the people that had it, I feel bad for them. Honestly, like, so when I was at the hospital, they had me join a bunch of groups on Facebook and Instagram that are like, they're people who've gone through a stroke. Most I don't comment on them, and I don't say, because most times it's people bitching.
Yeah.
But I really like times trust me, I'm like ready to kill somebody. But I don't like say it there. I only ask them like questions that are really serious. But then sometimes I read what they say. And there was a guy the other day. He I don't know what he wrote, but he had like all kinds of words that they were way jumbled. There was like his message just didn't make sense. And I thought to myself, God, if I was like that, I'd be so sad. So I do think that he's worse than I could be, but
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah. His words are more jumbled than yours, and if you're thinking if you were like that, you would be probably feeling more sad than you currently are, and you're assuming that maybe that person is feeling sad, but maybe they're not. Maybe they just got the challenge and they're taking on the challenge and they're trying to heal and recover. You don't know, and maybe they're getting help and support through that therapy, and also maybe psychological help and all that kind of stuff. Have you ever had any counseling or anything like that to sort of try and wrap your head around what the hell's going on in your life?
So I did it once, and actually, like, I think she was okay. I felt like I was always having to talk. Now, I know that I'm so to talk, but I don't. But she wasn't asking me a lot of questions, and I felt like she needs to ask me more questions. I have more answers, but she didn't. She just wanted me to talk, so I just talked. But I stopped seeing her because so two reasons. I stopped seeing her because when they fired me, I didn't know what I had to do. I knew I had insurance, but I didn't know how long it was going to be for me to have that. So I talked to her for a little bit, and then I stopped talking to her because like I just couldn't deal with it. I
It was
think
a bit
now I'm getting to the point where I'm going to do it.
I like that. I like what you said there, because sometimes it's early. It's too early to go through
It is,
that and try and unwrap it, right?
yeah.
And now a little bit of time's passed. You probably have more conscious awareness of, I do need to talk about this and I need to go through and see a certain person,
Yeah.
and now I'm going to take that action. It's been 3 years, and now I can take that action. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about, like, you have to feel like you're connected to that person, or you have rapport, or they get you, and you're not just, it's not a one-way conversation. That's really important in choosing a counselor. I know my counselor, I didn't do all the talking. It was like you and me are chatting now about stuff. We had a conversation about things regularly, and therefore, one of the good things that she was able to do was just ease my mind when I would go off on real negative tangents. You
Yeah.
know, she would kind of try to bring me back down just to calm and settle me down and offer me hope.
I think honestly, my biggest problem with this whole stroke and having it at all, I have aphasia, and that 100% kills me because I can't, like, I can talk like normal, but I can't talk like, I forget what I'm not forget what I'm saying. So it's in my brain, but I can't spit it out. I get really frustrated at that point. So I had a stroke. My left hemisphere and my right side went numb. My left hemisphere is all kinds of different things I can't do. The good news is my left means I can't, like, I can talk to people like this. But the other person, and that guy I was talking about, he probably had the right side. His aphasia was really bad, really bad. But I was a person who talked like really fast all the time, all the time.
Ah,
And
okay.
now, like, I think part of my brain goes so fast and I can't spit it out. I get
As
really,
quickly as your brain.
I get, it's, yeah,
Okay. So, I've spoken to a ton of people who have aphasia, and one of the things they say to me is when they have frustration, the aphasia is worse. So the skill is
it is.
to learn to be less frustrated with one's self, which means that's like a personal love thing. That's self-love. That's
Yeah, that's a good point.
supporting yourself,
That's a good point.
and going, and it's going like, well, you're trying your best. It's all good. Don't get frustrated with yourself. Don't hate yourself. Don't give yourself a hard time about it. And try and decrease the frustration. Then the aphasia gets less impactful. But, and then maybe, this part of learning the new you is bring the old Trisha with you, but maybe the new Trisha needs to be a little bit more slow, a
Yeah,
little more measured, a little more calm. And it's a skill because for 46 years, you were the regular Trisha, the one that you always knew, but now you've got to adjust things a little bit. It's like people going into midlife, right? Like us, in our 50s, and then, or, sort of approaching 50 on and beyond, and then going, I'm going to keep eating fast food that I ate when I was 21 and 20, McDonald's or sodas
yeah.
or whatever. You can't do it anymore. You have to make adjustments, even though that's been your habit for the longest time. Your body's going, I can't deal with this stuff anymore. Take it out. Let's simplify things. And it's kind of like how to approach, I think, stroke recovery is things need to kind of get pared back and simplified. And it has to start with self love. And you have to acknowledge how much effort you've already put in for the last 3 years to get you to the position that you are now, which is far better than you were 3 years ago when the stroke happened. And you have to celebrate how much your body is trying to support you heal your brain. Your body's trying to get you over the line, and your mindset is getting frustrated with itself, which is making things worse. Tweak
It does.
that, and things will get a bit better, maybe. I don't know.
You're 100% right. So whenever I'm not stressed, so two things. I think when I talk to people I don't know, I always get like nervous about that.
You think they're thinking about things that you're not, they're not really.
Yeah, but then who knows what they're thinking of? But that's just how I get. Whenever I get like, I went to a concert like a couple of years ago, and I was like, I have to leave. I could hear the music was so loud in my brain. Like I gotta get out of here. So I left. I've gotten better since then, but there's something about I have to do things slower. I have to do things slower. I've realized that like recently, like in the last like maybe month, I have to do things very slow. I have to. And maybe this is God's way of like telling me like slow f down. You're going too fast. But that's how I live my whole life. And then all of a sudden, now you're
Yeah,
not going to
there's
do
an
that.
adjustment. Yeah,
Yeah,
adjustment.
it's a huge adjustment. So
Yeah.
I can do it right, not always right, because again, it's aphasia. It's going to be hit or miss. But if I go slower, much slower, I can get it all out. But ugh, they're a pain.
It's
It's a
it's a lot of
pain.
work, man. It doesn't end here. The work just is just beginning. This getting to understand yourself, to know yourself, to support yourself, to be your biggest advocate, um, and then to fail, and then to try and be the person that um, picks themselves up and goes again and tries again without getting frustrated. I know exactly what you mean. Like, so many people listening will know what you mean. And with time, you'll get better and better, because I know that 3 years seems like a long time, but it's early in the recovery phase. The recovery is still going to continue. Year 4, 5, 6, 7 will be better and better and better. And I'm 12 years post brain surgery and 14 years post first incident. So it's like things are still improving and getting better for me.
Yeah.
And one of the things is the way that my body responds to physical exercise. I went for a bike ride a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago. And when I used to go for a bike ride at the beginning, um, man, I would be wiped out for the entire day.
Yeah.
And I used to do a morning bike ride about like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I'd be wiped out for the rest of the day. Whereas now I can go for a bike ride and just be wiped out like a regular person, but about an hour or two, and then I'm back on board with doing other tasks. So it takes so much time for the brain to heal. Nobody can give you a timeline, and you've got heaps more healing to go.
So I looked at my something on YouTube, how long it takes to recover from a stroke. I've looked at that everywhere I can find. I've looked at that. It's so funny. Like everybody says that everybody's stroke is different. Everybody. It doesn't matter how long you were in hospital for. It doesn't how long. But that like, it's crazy. I have no like table of when I'm going to get better. None. I have to just deal with it.
Yeah.
It
It's
sucks, but
such a hard thing. It's not a broken bone, like 6 weeks, stay off it, do a little bit of rehab, and then you're back to normal.
I had uh, 2 years before this, or maybe a year before that, I had rotator cuff surgery, and like I look back at that, I'm like, oh, that was so bad. And that was like night and day. The stroke definitely like the stroke killed me. Not the stroke. I don't want to say the stroke. I think having aphasia killed me.
Okay.
I do it. The stroke is, don't get me wrong, I don't like it either, but the
Yeah.
aphasia kills me because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be normal, but I can be normal. But the aphasia,
But that word killed me is a real heavy word, right? Um, Maybe you should consider changing that word. But also, like, I didn't pick that you had aphasia.
I
And I
know. It's funny that
and I speak to stroke survivors all the time. Like, I didn't pick it. I just assumed that was the way you process your words, and that's how you get things out. Like, I didn't notice it at all.
yeah, that's actually good. That's really good. But I notice it.
Yeah.
I definitely notice it. I could talk like a mile a minute, and now like, I mean,
Maybe it was maybe now it's more about quality rather than quantity, Trisha.
apparently, apparently it is. Yeah.
I'm not saying that you didn't have quality in that. I didn't know you, so I'm not.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
I trust me, it's okay. But yeah, it just frustrates me. I can't get out what I want to get out,
yeah,
and so at that time, I'm like, just give me a little time. I'll get it out. But I can't say that to people when I'm out. I can't say that to people, so I don't say it at all.
so you stop yourself from communicating
Yeah,
because you think you're taking too long and it's interrupting the flow of the conversation.
all day.
Yeah, I think you're doing that to yourself. I don't think that's true. We've had a fantastic conversation here, and I never picked
But
it.
so you're somebody who's had a stroke before. It's kind of different for me because you
I
had
understand.
But if you didn't have a stroke, would be, well, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe one-on-one, I'm okay. No, I think no. It's because you have a stroke. I think about people I've talked to and they're one-on-one. I don't do well with them. But I think that you've had a stroke, so I know how to communicate with you.
And maybe you're more at ease about it, feeling less judged.
Yes, all day.
I understand.
Even that guy I told you about that said that on Facebook. God, like I really my heart goes out to him. But then there's the people that are bitching and complaining. Like I want to say my heart goes out to them, but it really it goes to certain people, and I think that he's like going through it.
Yeah. One of the problems with going to Facebook to bitch and moan about it, especially when you're going through it, is that you get an abundance of people who also are there to bitch and moan about it. And that makes it worse. I think you should do bitching and moaning on your own, like when there's no one watching or listening.
Yeah, I do it myself.
Because then that way there's not a loop of bitching and moaning that happens that makes it dramatically worse for everybody. And that's why I don't hang around on Facebook, Instagram, social media, or anything like that for those types of conversations. If I'm not sharing a little bit of wisdom or somebody's story or asking a question, like a genuine question, one of the questions might be, did you struggle driving and did you have to pull over and go to sleep in the middle of the road if you had a big trip ahead of you in the car? I've done that. Like if I'm not asking a question like that, I don't want to be on social media saying, life sucks, this sucks, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, forget about it. What's the point of that? That's why I started the podcast, so I can have my own conversations about it that were positive based on what we're overcoming rather than all the shit we're dealing with. And that way we take off that spiral, the negative downward spiral. We try and make it an upward spiral, where things are, I don't know, we're seeing the glass half full perhaps, or we're seeing the positive that came out of it. If something like, I know there's some positive stuff that came out of stroke for you. Day one, you definitely didn't think that. Maybe 3 years down the track, maybe if it wasn't for this, well, then that wouldn't have happened. For me, like I've been on TV, I've been at the Stroke Foundation, I've been on radio, I've presented, I've got a podcast, I wrote a book. Like it's taken years and years for all those good things to come, but they never would have happened if I didn't have a stroke. So I wanted to have
That's
those
good.
types of conversations.
Yeah.
What are the positive things we can turn this into? Because, dude, man, there's just enough shit to deal with that we don't have to deal with every other version of it. And I think it's better to have me personally, my negative moments alone, because I don't want to get into a competition with somebody who I say, I didn't sleep well. My left side hurts. It feels like pins and needles. And then they say to me, oh, you think that's bad? Well, forget about it. I don't want to be that guy on the other end of a conversation like that.
So you said your left side, usually you have pins and needles. Is it always like that?
Always, yeah. Never
So,
goes away.
I'm sorry. You had hemorrhagic stroke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brain bleed.
I know the difference between the two, but why did you have hemorrhagic stroke?
I was born with a blood vessel that was malformed, so it was like a really weak one, a really like it was kind of like it wasn't created properly in my brain when I was born, and it's called an arteriovenous malformation.
Oh,
and then
I heard that.
they sit idle, and they do nothing for a lot of people, and then sometimes they burst. And people sometimes have them all over their body. They don't have to have them in their head. They can have them on their skin, in an arm, on a leg, wherever. And on an arm and a leg, they decrease the blood flow and they create real big lesions of skin damage on the surface. In the brain, they leak into the brain and they cause a stroke. So the challenge with it is, like you, there was no signs and symptoms for any of my life until it started bleeding. And when I took action, eventually, I was like, I didn't want to go to the doctor. I didn't want to go to the hospital. Didn't want to do any of that. It took 7 days for me to go to the hospital. When I finally got there, they found the blood in my head. And then they thought it would stop bleeding, and it didn't. And then it bled again, and they wanted to monitor it to see if it stops bleeding. They wanted trying to avoid surgery. And then it bled a third time. And then after it bled the third time, they said, we have to have surgery. We've got to take it out because it's too dangerous. And when it bled the second time, I didn't know who my wife was. I blanked out. I couldn't speak afterwards. I couldn't type an email. I couldn't work. I couldn't drive. I couldn't remember who came to visit me. I couldn't start and finish sentences.
And yeah, same thing.
Yeah. So much drama. And then the numbness wasn't there until after the brain surgery. So when they removed the blood vessel, they solved the problem in my head, but then the complication from the surgery was when I woke up, I couldn't walk. So I had to learn how to walk again. And the numbness has never gone away. It's there all the time.
My numbness has gone away. But even when I first had it, I remember I was at the Spalding, the rehab center here. And I had to go to the bathroom. I had to pee really bad. So I called the nurse. She didn't answer. I'm like, the bathroom's right there. I'll go. I got out of bed. All the alarms sounded off. I'm like, look around. And she comes running in. She's like, you can't get out of bed. I'm like, I just have to go to the bathroom. She's like, you can't get out of bed. I'm like, why? Right at that moment, I almost fell. I'm like, So I was like, okay, can you take me to the restroom? But and I didn't know I couldn't walk there. I didn't know.
Yeah. I woke up from brain surgery and they said, have you gone to the toilet? And I said, no. Okay, well, let me help you go to the toilet. That's the one thing they want you to do as soon as you can. I went out, I got out of the bed on my left side, went to put my leg on the ground. There was this little nurse, Asian lady, really small framed. I'm probably about 2 foot taller than her. And she goes, just put your arm around me and I'll hold you and you'll be fine. Well, I put my arm around her, I held her, and I just fell to the ground.
Oh.
We're talking hours after brain surgery.
Oh my God.
And that's the first time I realized that I couldn't walk. And then I needed to go to the toilet a couple of days later, and I pressed the buzzer and the nurses wouldn't come because they were busy. And I tried to get myself out of bed into the wheelchair, and they caught me while I was in the wheelchair, dragging myself to the toilet. And they said, you can't do that. I said, oh, well, if I don't do this, I'm going to shit myself. I need to do this. And then they said, well, we have to help you. And I said, cool, help me. They put me on the toilet, and then they wouldn't leave the room.
Me too.
And I was like, no, you have to leave the room. I'm not doing this with you in here. You've got to leave the room. And they said, we're not allowed to leave the room.
That's so funny.
And I know how. I made them stand outside the toilet door.
Me too.
And I swear to God, I'm not going to move and do anything else other than what I have to do in privacy. When I'm done, I'll let you know. But right now, you got to be outside.
Yeah.
And they stayed outside. It was chaos.
The same thing. So I had a wheelchair. At first, it was right beside my bed, so I can put my hand out and I can climb down there. But they got smart. They put it on the other side of the room. I'm like, I can get over there to get that wheelchair. So I'm like, I can walk there. Yeah. So I didn't walk there after that. Yeah. Yeah, they were smart.
And I wasn't blaming them. I didn't want to blame them. I just said to them, sorry guys, like, I know you're busy. I couldn't wait though. I just had to go, so that's what I did. I went, and, it wasn't the smartest move, but my self-preservation from the embarrassment of, soiling my pants was going to be my biggest issue, apparently. That was going to be the biggest problem in my life.
Yeah.
So have you had some friends that have rallied around you and kind of helped you get through this? Or have you been independent and done it all yourself? It seems like you're a little kind of independent.
Yeah, I'm definitely independent, but I have, so when I had the stroke, I had like 12 people at the hospital before I was even in for surgery. So I have some really good friends. But even still, like, I'm so used to doing things by myself. I'm so used to it. I got mad when I can't do it myself, and they help me. I'm like, don't finish my sentences. Don't let me talk myself. eventually I got past it. But sometimes I get frustrating. My friends were like really big support system. Yeah, they were.
Yeah. Do
My
they help you
son
get?
and my son and Jason are like, I think they're kind of traumatized by it,
Yeah.
and
100%.
that's why I'm like, I had the stroke. Why are you traumatized? I forget that I just don't look at from their perspective and understand like they watched me have a stroke.
Yeah. That's tough for a son to watch anyone they love have a stroke, right? But also your ex, even coming across a stranger that's having a bad health situation, like even that's tough, right?
It's tough.
And you guys were married at one point. You guys have a son together. Like you're friends, you're close, and it's like, what does that mean for this person? That even though you guys aren't in a relationship like you were, like there's a level of respect and love there still. It's like, what does this mean for that person? What does it mean for my son whose mum's unwell? Like there's a whole bunch of things that, you know,
Yeah.
come into it. They do get traumatized.
And the first day, I told you I remember seeing like a few people, but Jason and Zach and his brother Connor, who I love too, but they came in to see me. I couldn't really talk to them, but they were all crying, and Zach was really crying. Actually, Zach and Jason both were. It makes me feel bad because I couldn't like. I put my arm out to I was trying to tap him. I was saying it's okay, but I couldn't say that, so I just like put my arm out. It makes me feel bad now that I think about that. Like I know that they were traumatized. I know they were. I just didn't realize it until so right now.
Yeah. You didn't do it to them. It just happens.
I
That's what
know.
happens when somebody sees someone who they love be unwell,
Yeah.
if you think about what you went through with your parents, when things go wrong with your parents, it hurts you too. It's not just the person who you love that's going through it.
Yeah.
You go through it together. It's such a difficult thing. And I'm like you. I was trying to make everyone else around me feel calm and okay, and
All day. Yeah.
not not freak out.
All
Um,
day.
yeah, that's what I was doing most of the time.
Yeah. That's like actually what I was doing too. Most times that I was at Spalding. I honestly like I had a million people come in there to see me. It was really humbling now, but at the time I was like, I just want to be alone. And I was I was mad at myself. The first day, never forget it. I cried and cried. And I didn't want to go there. I told one Zach to take me home, and she gave me this iPad, and she said, "This is an English assignment. See how much you can do this." I'm like, I can do it. I couldn't do it at all. I could. It was, and now I can do it. But it was like such easy English. I threw the iPad. I'm like, just get out, get out. And that was the first day I was there. Like, fuck, she just wants to kill me. But in the end, like, she came back in the next day. She's like, you're fine. And just so you know, you're fine. I'm like, I just threw your iPad. By the way, I broke the iPad. But yeah, but she said I was fine. But in all reality, that was the worst for me. I couldn't like tie my shoes. I couldn't do anything. I thought I could do.
You know what's weird is a lot of stroke survivors, right? Not just you. You don't know how you tie your shoes, but you know how to be upset and frustrated at yourself.
All day,
How
all day. That's
how
so
is
true.
that a thing, man?
Oh,
Like if a stroke causes something, why can't it just stop you from knowing how to be frustrated with yourself? Like,
that's so true. The first week, a room with a view, but I would count how many cars it took to get to the place on the bridge. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. This is what I'm doing. This is what my life has become. I'm just counting how long it take get them to get to the bridge. I'm like, now every time I go past it on the highway, I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, I don't even want to see it. It's funny, it's not funny, but
I know what you mean. Like little things become ways to occupy your mind and
yeah,
ways to get through whatever you're going through to distract you from all the stuff that's going on, all the
yeah.
drama.
All
Yeah.
the stuff you do there was like crazy, but in reality, that's what I had to do. So I know that I know they were doing the right thing. But at the time, like you do physical therapy, you have to do occupational therapy. And like, can I just go sleep? I just want to sleep all day. So at times, people come to see me. We had visiting hours from I think it was from 4 to 8, and I was in uh one of the therapies always until like 5 or 6. So when they came in my room, I was ready for bed. One day I said, I yawned. I said, night night. This is all I could say. I said, night night, night night, night night. I said like that. My mom's like, are you tired? I'm like, yes. I was so tired. And she laughed, but like, it's funny now I laugh, but like, I said, night night, night night.
You're gone. You're wiped out.
Yeah, I was totally wiped out. I think that was the first
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. I understand what that's like. I remember being wiped out just doing, a few steps in rehab when I was doing occupational therapy and that, and then being wiped out for the whole day.
But
I was
yeah,
like, guys, I don't want to do anything else. But yeah, rehab is hard, but not rehabbing is potentially making life harder anyway. So you have to do the rehab. And it took me a month to sort of start get comfortable with the 3-4 sessions of rehab.
every day,
Yeah, every day.
every
Whereas
day.
at the beginning, one was enough. Like, guys, half an hour, I'm done.
Yep.
And
I had
thinking about walking and thinking about where your leg is going to go and thinking about your arm and everything. Too much thinking.
yeah. So it I think the first week I was at the hospital, I don't know why, but I did find out later. I sang like two different songs. Mind you, I didn't sing them. I said it out loud. And the one song, I hate this song. I hate this song now. I hate this song back then. I hate in general, I hate the song. And I said, my milkshake brings all the boys a yard. That's it. And my friend Ryder was like, what? I was like, my milkshake brings all the boys a yard. And I was like, it didn't dawn on me that was a song. And I was saying a part of it. And it turns out that the spot in my brain is well, then it was dead to the I think the verse of the songs, but it knew the words, so it would say it out loud. That song ended on "No diggity, no doubt." I say "No diggity, no doubt" over and over and over again. They got me a shirt that says "No diggity, no doubt."
That's crazy.
I know.
Of all the things to remember, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Yeah, that's all I said. That's embarrassing, but
That's so embarrassing and funny at the same time. It's a really good story. I love
yeah,
it. Looking back, right, you've definitely changed in many different ways. Like
all day.
how have you changed? Not just physically, not just you know, not just sort of noticing what you can and can't do anymore, but also emotionally and mentally. Like, where are you at with the? I know you get emotional, but I still get emotional when I talk about my stroke in the right place. So, like, what's the emotional and mental kind of recovery like for you?
The emotional, like, so the part of my brain that has a problem dealing with emotions. So I get emotional whenever I'm not upset. I'll be crying and I don't even realize I'm crying. And somebody says you're crying, I'm like, huh? Oh God, I feel that's when I know I'm crying. But it totally like it changed my life. Like some good, some bad, but it changed my life. I just have to go a lot slower. I told you that earlier. I do have to go a lot slower. It changed my life. I don't know. I don't know. It just changed it. It changed it. I don't know how.
It just changed.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I can't like put that down, but I now this is a weird thing, but now I can cook. I couldn't cook to save my life. Mind you, my mom died in November and she was a really good cook. So I think after she died, I just picked it up. I made stuffed lasagna and bread with it. I'm like, I don't even know how I made that, but I did it. It was really good. I don't know.
Good. Well done.
I know.
All right. That's good. That's a win. Why not? We'll just take it. I love it.
Yeah. I do
Um,
love those moments, but yeah, I just don't like, I don't want to. So sometimes I go out, I get tired, or better yet, I go out and have like, most I have is 2 drinks ever. And this is, I don't know why this happened to me, but like before I could drink a lot, not a lot, but a lot for me. Um, but now like I have like 2 drinks, I'm like, I'm done. Like I don't think I'm drunk, but I just think that I just can't have any more.
yeah. I've stopped drinking. I haven't had more than about 20 drinks in 10 years
Wow, that's good. I need to do that, but I don't do that yet.
because it makes me feel like I'm having another stroke. That's why I don't do it.
That I wouldn't do it in that case either. I think I think that's a way I cope with it. Actually, I go all by myself all the time.
Okay. So you reckon the drinking kind of helps take the edge off every so often if you're
Yeah,
feeling down on something?
yeah, and I think that somebody, if I can talk to somebody and they want to hear about my stroke, I'll gladly tell them that. But Zach and Jason and everybody that I know, I can't like talk to them about it because like, yeah, it's
Great.
frustrating.
Yeah, because also you have a conversation with them that's different. Like it's not a you and me talking about stroke. I don't have to come in and step in and go, worry about you. I don't have to say, but mum this or but Trisha that. Like I don't have to do any of that stuff. We just have a talk, we share our conversation. You get it off your chest, I get mine off my chest. But then you're talking to the family, and the family they're not as disconnected from it, and therefore it goes the way family conversations go when somebody has been unwell. And I'm the same, like with my wife. I think that's why the podcast exists, because I- here I am 14 years later, still talking about the stroke every week on the podcast.
That's crazy.
My wife doesn't need to have that many conversations about what happened to me.
Yeah,
She doesn't need it.
yeah.
She physically, emotionally, mentally doesn't. Every so often I say to her, no, I'm screwed. And she'll say, what's wrong with you again today? And I'll say, you remember I had a stroke 14 years ago. Every so often I say it just because I need to say it. And then she goes, oh yeah, okay, I get it. And then they can get off my case when they're being, when they're giving me a hard time for being moody or
Yeah.
nasty or whatever. And then we're okay. But we don't have deep and meaningful conversations about it anymore. There's no point because she can't change anything. She's not the right person for that. A therapist is for me if I need to. And if I can't see a therapist, another podcast guest is my therapy. Like it's fine.
It totally is. So when I first had the stroke, whenever I go out with whoever I went with, I told them I had a stroke. Mind you, I didn't want to tell them I had a stroke, but I couldn't tell them I had aphasia. I think they're not going to know what that is. So I have a stroke. That way I can say I have aphasia, blah, blah. I tell them that because they give me time to let it out. What I'm trying to say out. That's a big deal for me. And so I think that when I did that at first, it kind of bothered some people. I'm like, listen, I'm going to do it whether you're with me or not. I do it because I need to do it. I have to do it. It's not because I give 2 shits what anybody thinks about me having a stroke, but it's about aphasia. I can talk if they let me get it out. So I think that now everybody's okay with it. But at first they're like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah.
Learning how to interact with somebody who's had a stroke and has aphasia is a big task as well.
It is.
My wife even a few times said, spit it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, spit it out. Be careful what you're saying, like, and I know she wasn't being nasty or mean.
Yeah.
She just thought I was delaying the conversation or whatever, or being distracted or whatever. And I'm like, just bloody wait, shut up, be patient and wait, like, ru- you know, and we're there now and we understand each other. But early on, it was her learning that, like, my brain doesn't work and my mouth unconnected like they were before.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll come better or not, but right now it's not. So just wait. Just don't say anything for 3 seconds. It's your problem if you can't handle 3 seconds of dead air time. It's not my problem. Just stop.
So when I first had it and I got out, I went to this Chinese restaurant with a bunch of my girlfriends, and I didn't know. I said to my friend Jill, I said, when you come back up here, can you bring me the shirt that you wore mine to homecoming? So, two things. I've been homecoming since I was in high school, so it's 20 something years. And I looked at her, I'm like, I said that? And she's like, yeah. It just like makes me laugh, and that's how I was then. Now, like how can I say that? But I said it.
Yeah.
I did.
The brain is, anyhow, people after stroke are the same but different. Things work differently. Things are rewiring. Things are all over the place.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time and a lot of healing. I think I kind of hit my best sort of recovery phase after the first 7 or 8 years. 6, 7 or 8 years is kind of when I felt best about myself. It took a long time for me to get there. And I went back to work. 2012 was the first incident. I didn't go back to work until after 2019 in my own business,
Yeah.
which is what I was doing beforehand. So it took 7 years for me to get back into the swing of the routine and all
Yeah.
that. It's harder than it was then because I was dealing with the physical challenges, but it took a long time. So I think you'll get there. And I want to offer hope to people that are early on in the recovery that things will continue to change and improve. What do you like doing now? Like, what's your little, what are the things about your life that you kind of love to do that make you feel good?
I'm really big into football. I've always, but it's funny. So when I was in Spalding, so I'm a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Deal
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had to. Do you go to the
Super
playoffs?
Bowl.
Well, go to the playoffs, they had to beat. They had to win, and we had three other teams like win and lose. So Spalding, I was watching on my phone. She had the TV on. She had an iPad that she had it on, and I was watching all three of them. And she looks at me. And she's like, "You have not changed at all." I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's because I was doing that, and she kind of laughed about it, but it's kind of true. I still like the same things. I love the way I play pool. I was really good at pool. I was really good. I can't shoot as good as I used to shoot before, but I can still shoot. I went out with Zach one time, and I beat him, and he's like, "How the hell did you beat me?" I'm like, "I don't know. I like a game, but it's not that. I was so good at shooting pool. I don't shoot it as good as I did, but yeah,
You like doing activities like that?
yeah, I do.
That's cool. Why not? I love it. With the way that the gridiron works in the United States, if your team doesn't get to the Super Bowl, like, is it really depressing?
Yes,
Because I know you guys have separate, like, there's two
there's two
different
divisions.
divisions,
Yep, and there's
and
four
then
divisions. There's two divisions, and there's four. I can't remember what they're called, but in each division.
okay, so each division is split up into four. Okay, so to get to the top of your division, do you have to have playoffs against the others in the other four?
Yeah, you have to have playoffs against only. So my conference. That's what I was going to say. There's two conferences, AFC and NFC. So at AFC, the Steelers are in, so they have to be not all the teams. They have a playoff that they have to go through. But then once they get through that, then they play the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Wow. Okay, so they've got to get through their own division. They've got to then be the top of the NFC, and then they've got to play off in the Super Bowl to potentially win the Super Bowl. So it is a massive, big deal to make it and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Massive.
So Pittsburgh has we're tied right now with the Pats, and it makes me effing mad because I live in Boston, and like whatever. So we're tied with them now, but I like to say we have more than they do, but it doesn't matter. So we're tied.
Yeah. Okay. I hear more Super Bowls. So I just Googled it. The last time the Steelers won the Super Bowl was in 2009.
And I was at that game. It was so much fun. Oh God, it was so much fun. San Antonio Holmes caught the ball in the end zone. Is the most amazing catch. Watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Okay.
He's amazing.
I'll go back. I'll check it out. I love big games, where two really good teams go against each other and your team just gets over the line.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. You never ever forget it for the positive, but then the other team never forget it because of the negative.
We played against. That's not the last time we were in the Super Bowl. We played in the Super Bowl 2009 when we won. I think we played in 2011 or 12 and we lost to Green Bay. I went to that game too, and I was mad. But
My team in Australia, in Australian football, has been equaled 16 championships since they've been around, which is like for 110 years or something. And they've lost the most championships.
Really?
Yeah. So they've been in the most. They've won almost the most, but they've lost more than any other team.
Wait, I don't know how many we lost. I bet we're up there. No, I don't think we're up there. But
yeah. So we've seen a lot of heartache in those years where so many losses. I've probably seen I reckon I've seen maybe 7 or 8 losses in a, yeah. And in the gridiron, when I was a kid, probably in my 20s and my teens, I used to follow, you're going to know exactly what I'm getting at now. I used to follow Buffalo Bills because my name's Bill. I used to follow the Buffalo Bills.
I do like Buffalo Bills.
But how many did they lose in a row in the 90s?
They've never been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they've been to the Super Bowl. They've lost. Yeah, I'll Google now. I'll tell you how many they lost.
It could be that many.
Oh man, in a row too. Super Bowls did Buffalo
I
lose?
I don't think they've been to the Super Bowl. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, in 1991 they lost to the Giants 20-19. So in 1992 they lost to Washington 37-24. In 1993 they lost to the Dallas Cowboys 52-17. 52-17. And in 1990 they lost to Dallas Cowboys 30-13.
So they haven't been there since then, right?
I believe so. And they've lost 4 in a row, 91, 92, 93, 94.
Oh my God.
So they have a hat and everything.
So I think that's what I'm thinking of. I don't think they've ever won a Super Bowl. But they haven't been there in the last couple of years, and they really should have been. And I was rooting for them to win. I root for Steelers all day. I don't care all day. But when they're out, I was hoping that they won, but they didn't.
There's 0 from 4 attempts. And it was all in 0 wins from 4 attempts at the Super Bowl. And they've lost 4 in a row. Yeah, it was devastating to be a Buffalo Bills fan then. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, I'd love to ask you one last question, especially about somebody who might be listening to this interview who's just going through it really early on. Like, what would you say to them about the journey, about what you've learned about stroke in general or life? Like, do you have some words of wisdom?
I think that, like, you just have to be patient with yourself and be patient in general. Because in the end, like, so I went neuroplasticity. It really does exist. I'm telling you, like, my brain, like, I find places to find the words I never have before. It takes longer for them to get there, but it gets there. So I was speaking really bad when I first had it. I speak a lot better now. Just give yourself time. I know my back to work. I shouldn't have, but I went back to work. All these little things I did, I shouldn't have, but I did. It taught me that if I ever had it again, I won't do that. I have to just take my time and do it myself. It's like, I feel like Well, I get young too, so I don't. It's hard to say what I would do, but yeah, I just got to take my time. I have to.
I love it. Trisha, thank you so much for reaching out, staying up so late to be with me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. It was great to chat to you. What a wonderful conversation. Trisha was 46 years old, no risk factors, a carotid web she never knew she had, and a stroke that changed everything in an instant. What stayed with me most was her honesty about the anger, not knowing who she's mad at, just being mad, the aphasia that frustrates her more than any physical deficit, the moment she realized her son and ex-husband were traumatized, and that she'd forgotten to look at it from their perspective, and her reminder that at the end, the neuroplasticity is real. The brain is still finding new pathways. Give it time. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe so you never miss a story like Trisha's. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. You are the reason that helps this podcast keep going and stays free for every stroke survivor who needs it. A special welcome to those who have joined us recently. Thank you so much. It genuinely means the world to me. And finally, my book. If you're in recovery and feeling that anger, that confusion, and that sense of why me, I wrote about all of it. It's called The Unexpected Way That a Stroke Became the Best Thing That Happened. It is available at recoveryafterstroke.com/book. I'm Bill Gassiamas. Thank you for listening to the Recovery After Stroke podcast. I will see you in the next episode.
Importantly, we present many podcasts designed to give you an insight and understanding into the experiences of other individuals. Opinions and treatment protocols discussed during any podcast are the individual's own experience, and we do not necessarily share the same opinion, nor do we recommend any treatment protocol discussed. All content on this website and any linked blog, podcast, or video material controlled this website or content is created and produced for informational purposes only and is largely based on the personal experience of Bill Gassiamas. The content is intended to complement your medical treatment and support healing. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice and should not be relied on as health advice. The information is general and may not be suitable for your personal injuries, circumstances, or health objectives. Do not use our content as a standalone resource to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease for therapeutic purposes or as a substitute for the advice of a health professional. Never delay seeking advice or disregard the advice of a medical professional, your doctor, or your rehabilitation program based on our content. If you have any questions or concerns about your health or medical condition, please seek guidance from a doctor or other medical professional. If you are experiencing a health emergency or think you might be, call 000 if in Australia, or your local emergency number immediately for emergency assistance, or go to the nearest hospital emergency department. Medical information changes constantly. While we aim to provide current, quality information in our content, we do not provide any guarantees and assume no legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, currency, or completeness of the content. If you choose to rely on any information within our content, you do so solely at your own risk. We are careful with links we provide. However, third-party links from our website are followed at your own risk, and we are not responsible for any information you find there.